My name is Steve Pennington. Welcome to the Chamber Candidate Forum for North Bend and Snoqualmie City Councils and North Bend Mayor. We're happy to provide this opportunity for community discussion around important topics in our cities today. We appreciate you all for being here. We've reached out to our membership and to the community to gather questions, and we want to thank all of you who submitted questions. We've consolidated them into the most mentioned topics. The candidates have not seen the questions beforehand. The format today will be as follows. Each candidate, including those in uncontested races, will provide a 1-minute opening statement. I will then ask questions of the candidates in the contested races. The same questions will be asked to each candidate within the city. Please limit your answers to 1 minute. Kaylee, the Chamber's Member Service Manager, will raise a red card to indicate when you are out of time. We have a lot of questions, and we want everyone to have an opportunity to answer. We are aiming to be done promptly at 2 p.m. Or as Fritz would say, 1:57. I know I can count on all of you to watch for that red card. We will rotate who starts first to answer each question so that everyone gets an opportunity to go first and an opportunity to go last. At the end of our questions, we will allow you each 1 minute for a closing statement. You can also use that time to expand upon your answers to previous questions if you so choose, as long as you stay within your 1 minute. We will start with Snoqualmie candidates and move on then to North Bend candidates. I also wanted to add, I've discussed this with all but one of the uncontested candidates. There is a rapid fire question section in the middle. I know we had said that you would have the opportunity to do your 1 minute and then go back to your seat. You are welcome to stay and participate in the rapid fire section, which is a simple show of hands, whether you support a list of specific topics that were sent in by local citizens. Are there any questions from the candidates or from the audience?
I have questions.
Sir.
For your rapid fire questions, you'll be reading questions, and we just simply raise our hand.
Yep.
Thank you for the clarity.
All right, so let's begin with these Snoqualmie candidates. If you'd like to please come up and take your seats. For position number 6, we have Joe Larson, Council Member Charles Peterson. In position number 2, we have Council Member Shelley Peterson. Patterson, I'm sorry. And great big text. All right. And then for position 4, we have Brad Top. Opening statements. You are now each invited to make an opening statement of 1 minute each. We will be alternating who starts first. Please pass the microphone to your left after your answer. We will start with candidate Larson. So you can, we were going to have you address from there, but you can stand if you'd like.
Hi, good morning. Are you able to hear me? No.
Yeah.
Okay, that was better. All right. Good morning. Thank you, Chamber of Commerce. Appreciate this opportunity to speak. My name is Joe Larson. I've been here in the Valley for a little over 12 years with my wife and 3 kids. My first position as an elected official was the ski club president in my high school. That was my last position as elected official, so this is new territory for me. Having said that, nonetheless, I think there have been a number of things in my past that really qualified me for this new chapter in my life, and have caused me to want very much to serve in this way. Most recently, I served with the hospital to do a deep study on the community health and welfare of this valley, and in that process, became deeply acquainted with the valley, and then also I took an appointment on the Planning Commission at a time when the Planning Commission was in the midst of developing a comprehensive plan. So between those two things, and when you get acquainted with something, inevitably you start to fall in love with it. So I very much appreciate the opportunities to serve even further. Thanks.
Probably we're going to be up and down, so I'll just stay down. I want to be first to congratulate Brad to the city council. Since he's running unopposed, I do believe he'll be a councilman, and he'll serve well, I'm sure, in the city. I have served, I live in the city of Snoqualmie my entire life, and I've been on the council, the planning commission, the mayor, back to the council. I was asked to come back in '04 by a couple of the council members when we went from 5 to 7, and I've thoroughly enjoyed working with my fellow council members, the staff, and the mayor of the city. I think we get along well, and when we debated whether I would run again for another term, I was pleased that the 7 council members, of course I said yes, and 5 others have not only asked me to run, but they've endorsed me, and they're publicly going to come out with that endorsement. So that means something to me, and I think it means that with my integrity and my experience, and they look towards me, and my card is up, and so I thank you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Shelley Patterson, and I'm the newest member of the City of Snoqualmie City Council. I was appointed last year about this time to fill a vacancy, and I committed at that time to run again, so here I am. Relieved to be running unopposed, I must say, and I know it's a lot of work, and I appreciate what you guys are doing to run in that race. In my remaining seconds, I might just say a couple things about what I hope people would be asking me if I were running, and what I hope they do ask me and the candidates about. Things like, how are we going to replace the revenue streams that are going to be drying up from the construction? How are we going to attract new business? How are we going to attract tourism and various other revenue streams? How are we going to maintain our infrastructure, because the ridge is now almost 20 years old and things are starting to age. Things like that. So I'm looking forward to hearing how this goes today. Thanks.
My name is Brad Toft, and I just want to, Charles, say thank you for the welcome. This is a little anticlimactic. Last time I ran for office, it was a little more lively, and so running unopposed is different for me to get used to. My family and I we're in our 14th year living in Snoqualmie, which is longer than I've lived anywhere by a long shot, so it's definitely home. And I've gotten to know a lot of you through Wildcat football, through Rotary, through the Chamber, and other things that other places that I've served, and many of you have served in the community. And so priorities to me coming onto the council in serving, Shelley touched on one of those, is economic development. We certainly want to preserve the culture of Snoqualmie and the ecology of Snoqualmie as well, and make sure that the public safety in Snoqualmie just keeps pace with the population that's grown here. So those are priorities. So I'd love to. I'll reserve the rest of my comments for my closing. Thanks.
Now we will have questions for the candidates for position 6. Councilman Peterson will have the first answer. And our first question is, what do you see as the most critical issue facing Snoqualmie, and how would you address it?
I think one of the most critical issues is our revenue stream. And we set aside the last several years three different kinds of ways to raise our property taxes, just put them in slots to use. And so we have a lot of infrastructure that needs to be repaired. Our roads are starting to wear out. Some of our sewer lines water lines. And we've set aside monies in the utility rates for the next 3 years and 3-year capital plan to address all those needs. With our rates in Snoqualmie for sewer, water, and stormwater are less than the 7 nearest cities. We've maintained a lower structure of rates, yet our program is producing the monies needed to take care of those facilities. And so we have the revenues, and we're being fiscally responsible to meet the needs of the city.
Thank you. I'd agree with my colleague here. I think one of our biggest achievements in the last 12 years is the responsibility with which the leadership, the council, the staff have been very judicious about managing our budget and anticipating future costs. That's difficult to do when you have fluctuating revenues based on tax appraisals. It's also difficult when you can't see what sort of grant funds are going to be available through state coffers. Many of our improvements with the downtown renovation, for example, are funded through outside sources beyond the city. These grants are managed at the state level, and so our ability to influence and make strong applications to leverage all those grant funds is huge. I think we've done a good job of it as long as we continue to do that. It's not what I would characterize it's an important, but I wouldn't characterize it as a crisis. We're in a good position.
Our next question, and you'll get to be first to answer this one, Candidate Larson. The pace of housing development in Snoqualmie has slowed considerably, with little housing growth on the horizon compared to the last 20 years. What are your plans for balancing out the cost of maintaining infrastructure like roads and public safety with this new reality?
Yeah, this has been touched on a little bit. I think if the projections hold, the revenues that we can gain through utility taxes should keep pace. We have some opportunities through sales tax revenues with the planned conference center with the Salish. As our retail picks up in the downtown corridor, we should see more retail revenue. There are options to do away with the revenue as is packaged through the tax on the car registration, or the fees associated with car registration, and instead utilize an increase in sales tax. So I'm confident that we have 2 or 3 different avenues to meet our anticipated expenses. The neat thing about that is where we are now, as this building comes to a close, is where we're really in a wonderful position to begin to turn our attention to the other areas of development. So we've noticed our planning director title has been changed to a community development title as evidence of our shift and the fact that we can afford to make that shift. That's an indication of our success as a community. And I see that my red card is well passed.
As I mentioned before, with regard to revenues, we have 3 funds we set revenues aside each year: the contingency reserve fund, operating reserve fund, and the revolving reserve fund. And those monies are set aside to meet particular unseen needs or to pay off with the extra monies projects we've worked on. The city is close to build out. And we've been planning for that. I don't see any particular real problems coming forth. There will be some, if the Mumpashoots do decide to build their hotel and some housing over there, that'll be the last proceed development. The warehouse or plant site is sitting there. Whether anything will ever develop in the future, I don't know. And then the only other way we would develop is if there's some additional annexation. So, whoops, card is up. Thank you.
So then we'll remember. Candidate Peter said you'll have the first answer for this one. So hold the microphone. We just want to make sure everybody has a fair number. Next question. A large retail grocery store chain has submitted a development plan to the city of Snoqualmie to build on Snoqualmie Ridge. Whereas it may not be considered a big box store, it certainly qualifies as a large project as compared to what we have currently. What are your thoughts about the impact of this potential development on the sense of community and livability in a place that recently reached number 5 nationally as a place to live? How would you support or mitigate such a development?
We have what's called leakage. We've done studies. 70% approximately of the monies the people that live in Snoqualmie spend for groceries, cars, whatever is bought before they get to Snoqualmie. They stop in Issaquah, Bellevue, and they purchase about 70% of our products. If we could recapture some of those funds, that gives us additional sales tax, etc., to support the needs of the city of Snoqualmie. So I think that these people that want to build this 40,000 square foot building, which would include a grocery store and perhaps some other ones, the whole plan has not been presented to us yet, so it's hard to speak too much to it. But we have supported by allowing the zoning to have this type of a project built. And we will certainly make sure it doesn't have drive-through. I'm sure we won't support drive-through restaurants, etc. But I look forward to it being a product for your needs and to add additional monies to the city and taxes. I see it.
Thank you, Charles. Yeah, I'd agree. Most of the people I speak with are thrilled. I mean, granted, we're mindful of the negative impact such a store would have on existing grocers and any competing retail. But overall, the benefits resulting from the increased sales tax and just the convenience, being able to run down the Parkway versus all the way out to Issaquah and North Bend are huge. And I've yet to talk to anyone that has opposition to that. There is some discussion around whether or not we're to have a drive-through there. Currently, we don't allow for drive-throughs, but the developer feels very strongly about that prospect, and the planning commission will be discussing that on Monday. But my impression is that the community is open to making that type of concession in favor of all the benefits that come from having a local grocer of that scale.
Nicely done. All right, so we've reached the quick, never quite settled on the name. We'll call it the rapid fire section of the questioning. I will ask you to all answer a quick yes or no question. Please indicate your answer with a raise of your hand. If you are in support, raise your hand and keep it raised until I ask the next question. If not, do not raise your hand. Everybody will be. Any questions? All right. Would you support the Black Canyon Hydro Plant? Within the city limits, would you support a gun shop? Within the city limits, would you support a homeless shelter? Within the city limits,
That's hard to say yes to more information, but
right. Right. These were questions people were just curious where we stood. Within the city limits, would you support a marijuana shop? Within the city limits, would you support additional roundabouts? Would you support drive-through restaurants or coffee shops? Excellent. Thank you so much. On to our next full question. This is concerning traffic, and candidate Larson will start. The state legislature has included a phase 1 expansion of the I-90 and Highway 18's interchange in the latest transportation bill, but it could be years before the residents, visitors, and employees of Snoqualmie experience congestion relief for the Snoqualmie Parkway at that intersection. Meanwhile, the traffic congestion will only get worse. Do you have any plans for an interim solution?
Thank you. You know, the Department of Transportation is so far outside of our jurisdiction that we really can't exert pressure, although there are opportunities, I think, to exert influence, both on near-term relief, separate from sort of long-term project plans. So there are near-term discussions about displacing the scales, possibly allowing for a dedicated right turn lane from the parkway down I-90 west. Another lane could be added on I-90 westbound, also providing relief for people trying to get up the parkway rather than turning left on Highway 18. The project in general, in terms of being able to escalate it, I think it depends heavily on how much the council, the city is ready and willing to operate outside of the city at county and state levels to apply influence. So it involves turning our vision outward rather than inward. And I'd be happy to network or do whatever I could to win that kind of support at the state level.
The original gas tax proposal came forth. Highway 18 interconnection was not involved at all, and only because of this push from the city, the council, the staff, the mayor. We continue to push the state. Councilman Representative Rodney, etc., supported us, and we got that into the bill. If it hadn't been for Snoqualmie already putting out the pressure, it wouldn't be in this new program for the interchanges. Snoqualmie is now in the process of having a survey conducted of traffic from near the hospital to Highway 18 intersection. Out of that survey will come a lot of answers of where people go, traffic, etc. And we will use that to continue to push all state and federal agencies to rebuild the interchange as rapidly as possible. I don't think you're going to see just individual sections of that interchange built first. There's about a 2 years study, engineering study, it comes, and then that will tell the state and the city will know how to push forward to complete the project.
The next subject is affordable housing. Do you believe that the city should be encouraging or excluding affordable housing, such as Habitat for Humanity or Imagine Housing or other providers, or do you prefer more of a market-based solution? Councilman Peterson will start.
I do favor, we have a lot of people that like work in the hospital, have good jobs at the casino, etc. They want to live in Snoqualmie. They have to drive long distances because they can't afford the rent. They make good money, what I consider decent money, but it's not enough. I think that after careful planning, there can be a couple spots, I think, in the city where this type of housing can go in. It's needed, and I think between the council working with whatever agency brings forth a plan, the one that they brought forth before was huge. It was too big for the land area, but I think we can make a smaller one work, and I would be supportive of working with them to see if we can get it done.
I've taken a great interest in this subject in particular, and it comes out of this health assessment that identified housing and habitat as a key component of our health. So many of our lifestyles are kind of the tail wagging the dog. around our 2,000 square foot, 3,000 square foot homes and the cost it takes to maintain those. In this valley, for example, in the early 80s, late 70s, the average square foot home was 1,500 square feet. And the average size family was 5, and now we're now at about 2,200 square feet. Homes getting bigger than the average size family is between 2 and 3. So, we as creatures haven't changed our habitat needs, we've simply changed our expectations, but the consequences of that are surprising. So I'm a big proponent of trying to produce affordable housing, but I don't like the idea of producing it through artificial means, government programs. I think the key is to commercialize, to learn how to commercialize affordable housing. So a lot of my efforts have been in that direction. Somewhere in the last 30, 40 years, what was simply our habitat became both our habitat and our largest investment. So it's inevitable that if your home is also your #1 investment, prices are going to rise. It's important to try to look for ways to creatively re-engineer that a little bit to incentivize smaller homes. And so I think infill is a good way of doing that and distributing low-cost homes throughout a community.
The next question involves the mill site. Candidate Larson will start. What do you believe that the city's role should be in the development of the mill site, and what are your concerns, if any?
Well, I think we were wise to see that as an opportunity, knowing that we were a little short on retail revenue. It was important to annex this area, not knowing exactly where it would lead or what sort of environmental mitigations were involved. But it appears as though with if in fact the Muckleshoots move forward with their development in the conference center, suddenly the mill site becomes a much closer proximity to just the traffic at the Salish, and conceivably you can have a hotel there, and then once you have a hotel there, you've got business parks and lots of opportunities for driving, generating planned development with the corresponding revenue. So when you take that, you combine it with the possible annexation through the urban growth area south of the city, between city limits and Highway 18. This incoming grocer, you begin to see these synergies, the renovation of the downtown area. We see new businesses coming in. We have 4 or 5 properties that we conceivably sell, making more room for more retail. So I think the development of the mill site fits in very nicely with all that.
I was against the annexation of the Weyerhaeuser mill site and voted no. Wonderful people out there running the project, owning the land. Weyerhaeuser still owns some. I was the one that went to the council, King County Council, and found out the cost of maintaining the roads, rebuilding that bridge, brought it back to the council. Those people hadn't included it in their homework. I was able to improve the agreement quite a bit by the research I did. Nevertheless, I felt it was too early to bring it in. More than half of it is in the floodway. More of it's in the floodplain. And they've got 100 and some acres. There's a tremendous amount of cost. If you look on your bill, you see stormwater cost $9 or something on your property. We make money from them on that. They're up to about $200,000 a year. They have to pay the stormwater. That only goes into a stormwater plan for the city. That helps us. But we have to maintain the roads. There's about $30,000 we get in taxes from them. And we got roads maintained, the fire, the police, and guards up. But there's a lot of things we maintain, and with the taxes that come in, they're not supported at this time.
All right, at this point, we would like to give each of the 4 candidates sorry, I misread the timings on that. But we would like to give you each an opportunity to make a 1-minute closing statement and tell us why you you should be the choice.
Thank you. Well, in addition to the points we've made so far this afternoon, I'd like to share that for myself, the last 35 years has been a wonderful progression or development. You know, I started in higher education. I shifted into the military for a number of years, first enlisted, and then in the officer corps. And then from there, right into the private sector, where for 12 years I ran a small business, 25 employees, 6 retail locations. So particularly with this group, and so far as you're involved in commerce, I appreciate from the inside what the challenges are in that area and how that fits into the community as a whole. And on the heels of that experience, I began to experience what it is to serve in the public, working first with the hospital district and then later with the city of Snoqualmie itself. And in the course of that trajectory, my life has just been deeply enriching, and this for me would be an excellent opportunity to continue that course, and I would be proud to serve you as a councilman. Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, I've had the honor of working and serving with the citizens of Snoqualmie for many, many years. I did that while I was working, and of course I'm retired now. So I'm one of the council people. They all work hard, but I have the extra time to go to City Hall, to look at projects, meet with the merchants downtown Snoqualmie once a month. And so I have that time, and I have still have the interest. We meet a lot of meetings besides the regular council meeting. We have these work meetings, and recently we passed 8 goals, and each of them have objectives, and our plans are to complete those in the next 2 years. And I won't read them all to you, of course, we don't have time, but it talks about economic development goals, community services goals, maintain and replace city infrastructure, foster transparent, effective communication and operations within and between the mayor, the council, staff, and our community, and enhance accessibility for our residences, businesses, and visitors to and from Snoqualmie. Those are goals, each have objectives, and I have 2 years, we have 2 years to complete these projects. I want to be there working and serving you on this goal and everything else. Thank you.
Well, you should vote for me because I'm the only one on the ballot for position 2. I'm going to use the rest of my time to talk about why I'm endorsing Charles. I decided I shouldn't be in this position if I can't put a stake in the ground about something I care about. One thing I've learned in the last year is what a big job it is to serve on city council. The learning curve is huge. There's a ton of stuff, water rights, all kinds of things to learn about. This man has been committed to helping me learn, and I would dearly miss sitting up there without his knowledge and support. And I have nothing at all against Joe. I think you're incredibly intelligent and would make a great city council member. But I'm going to put my money on Charles and support him. And I also do have some concerns about the family relationships. I'm going to be completely transparent. Having our mayor and a city council member, not these 2 particular people, but in any situation, I think that's really, really tough on city council, and so that's on my mind too. I think we have a lot of new city council members, and introducing more change could be really disruptive as well. So those are my reasons, and thanks.
So Shelley just said I'm going to be disruptive, I guess, as a new council member. This is a tough crowd today. There's very, very little laughter. So I want to thank the Chamber for putting this on, and Steve for the time that you've taken to prepare the questions and people who submitted them. And I just want to invite you guys to reach out. I'd love to talk with you. If you've got things that you want to share with me about your experience living in Snoqualmie, or things that concern you, or ideas that you have I'll make myself available, so you can reach out to me on Facebook, or my campaign website is just bradtoft@snoqualmie.com. But I'd love to get together with you one-on-one, and appreciate your vote. Thanks.